Fluent English DCD podcast. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Fluent English DCD podcast. We are here to make learning English fun, easy, and useful. If this is your first time listening, we're so happy to have you here. My name is Jeff.
And I'm Emma. Whether you're just starting to learn English or already know some basics, this podcast is for you. Our goal is to help you speak and understand English with confidence. We speak at a medium speed so you can follow along easily, but you can also adjust the playback speed if needed.
Today, our topic is traveling. We'll teach you how to talk about your travel experiences, ask about other people's travels, and share tips for using English while traveling.
But before we start, let's talk about the DCD approach.
The DCD approach stands for daily, consistency, and discipline. These three things can help you learn English faster. Daily means practicing English every day, even if it's just for 10 minutes. Consistency means doing it regularly, like brushing your teeth. Small, regular practice helps a lot. Discipline means sticking to your plan, even on busy days.
That's right. If you follow the DCD approach, you can make English learning a habit and see real progress.
If you enjoy this podcast, don't forget to subscribe. Subscribing helps you stay updated and helps us create more episodes for you. Hello again. I'm Jeff, and today we're talking about traveling. Traveling is a wonderful way to explore new places, meet people, and learn about different cultures. It's also a great topic to talk about in English.
That's right, Jeff. Today we'll focus on 5 key questions about traveling. We'll share our answers and give tips to help you practice these questions and answers in your conversations.
So, let's get started with the first question.
Question 1. Have you ever traveled to another country? This is such a fun question to ask. It's simple and opens the door to interesting stories. Oh, Jeff, have you ever traveled to another country? I bet you have some great stories to share.
Yes, I have. I traveled to Japan last year. It was an absolutely amazing experience. I loved everything about it, visiting Tokyo and Kyoto, trying sushi, it's so much better there, and exploring the temples. The culture is so unique and fascinating. And you know what? I'd love to go back someday. Maybe next time I'll try skiing in Hokkaido. What about you, Emma?
Wow, Jeff, that sounds incredible. Japan is definitely on my list. I've been to Italy, and let me tell you, it was a dream come true. I visited Rome, Florence, and Venice. The food. Oh my goodness. The pizza, the pasta, the gelato. I think I could live on Italian food forever. And the history. Seeing the Colosseum for the first time. I got goosebumps. It felt like I was stepping back in time.
That's amazing, Emma. I can just imagine you eating gelato while admiring the Colosseum. When answering this question, it's always a good idea to share some details about your trip. Like, talk about the places you visited, the food you ate, or what you enjoyed most. It makes your answers so much more engaging and fun.
Absolutely. And here's a tip. If you haven't traveled to another country yet, don't worry. You can say something like, "Not yet, but I'd love to visit Spain one day." It's all about sharing your dreams and showing enthusiasm. Traveling is such an exciting topic to discuss.
Question 2. What's your favorite place you've visited? Oh, this is a great question. It's perfect for sharing your travel highlights. Emma, what's your favorite place you've visited? And don't say all of Italy.
Okay, if I have to pick just one, I'd say Santorini, Greece. Oh, Jeff, it's like stepping into a postcard. The white buildings with blue roofs, the view of the sparkling sea. Just breathtaking. And the sunsets. Oh, they're magical. I'll never forget sitting on a terrace, watching the sun dip below the horizon and eating fresh seafood. Yum. What about you, Jeff?
That sounds like paradise, Emma. For me, my favorite place is Banff National Park in Canada. The mountains, the lakes, the wildlife. Wow, it's like nature's masterpiece. I even went kayaking on Lake Louise. It was so peaceful, just me, the water, and the mountains. I felt so connected to nature.
Oh, Banff is definitely on my bucket list now. When you answer this question, think about what made the place special for you. Was it the scenery? The people? The food? Or maybe even a unique experience, like kayaking on a beautiful lake?
And don't forget to ask follow-up questions. For example, what did you like most about Santorini? Or, would you visit Banff again? Follow-up questions show that you're interested and keep the conversation going. Question 3. Where would you like to travel next?
Oh, this is my favorite question. It's all about dreaming big. Jeff, where would you like to travel next?
Oh, that's easy. I'd love to visit New Zealand. I've heard the landscapes are incredible mountains, beaches, forests. It's like a fantasy world. Plus, I'm a huge fan of The Lord of the Rings, and I really want to see where they filmed the movies. I mean, how cool would it be to stand in the real-life Shire? What about you, Emma?
That's such a great choice, Jeff. For me, I'd love to visit Japan. I've always wanted to see the cherry blossoms in spring, explore Kyoto's gardens, and try authentic ramen. Oh, and I've heard Japanese tea ceremonies are so special. I can already picture myself sipping matcha under a cherry blossom tree.
That sounds so peaceful, Emma. When answering this question, talk about why you want to visit that place. Maybe it's the food, the culture, or even a famous landmark you've always wanted to see. Sharing your excitement makes the conversation lively.
And here's another tip. If someone asks you this question, you can also ask them, how about you? Where do you want to go next? It's a great way to keep the conversation flowing and learn about their travel dreams too.
Absolutely. Talking about future travels is so much fun. It's like sharing your bucket list and inspiring each other to explore new places.
Question 4. Do you prefer traveling alone or with others?
Oh, this is an interesting one. It really helps you learn about someone's travel style. So, Emma, do you prefer traveling alone or with others? Spill the beans.
All right, Jeff, here's my answer. I prefer traveling with others, especially close friends or family. I just love sharing experiences with them and creating memories together. Like, when we laugh about getting lost or trying a new food, those moments stick with you forever. But you know what? I think traveling alone could also be a great way to learn more about yourself. Who knows? Maybe I'll try it someday.
That's such a lovely answer, Emma. And you're right, traveling alone can be a very personal and reflective experience. For me, it really depends on the trip. If I want to relax and explore at my own pace, I'll go solo. But if it's an adventure, like hiking or a road trip, I definitely prefer going with friends. The laughs, the music in the car, the shared excitement, it's just so much fun.
I can totally picture you singing along to the radio on a road trip, Jeff. A good tip for answering this question is to explain why you prefer one over the other. For example, you could say, I like traveling with others because I enjoy sharing the experience. Or, I prefer traveling alone because it gives me more freedom to do what I want. It makes your answer more thoughtful and personal.
That's a great tip, Emma. And remember, there's no right or wrong answer. Everyone has their own travel style, and that's what makes these conversations so interesting. Plus, asking follow-up questions like, what's the best trip you've taken with friends? Or, what did you learn from traveling alone? Can make the chat even more engaging. Question 5. What's your favorite way to travel by plane, train, or car?
Oh, this is a fun one. Everyone has their own travel preferences, and it's so interesting to hear why. Jeff, what's your favorite way to travel?
I'd say by train. There's just something so relaxing about it. Watching the scenery go by, not worrying about traffic. It's like a mini adventure in itself. Plus, train stations are usually right in the city center, which makes exploring easier. Oh, and let's not forget no long security lines like at airports. What about you, Emma?
Good point, Jeff. For me, I'd say road trips by car. I love the freedom to stop wherever I want, a cute little cafe, a beautiful view, or even a random roadside attraction. It's like you're in control of the adventure. But I also enjoy flying for long-distance trips. I mean, who doesn't love a window seat? Watching the clouds from above never gets old.
That's a great mix, Emma. When answering this question, you can talk about what you like or dislike about each option. For example, I love flying because it's fast and exciting. Or, I prefer driving because it gives me time to enjoy the journey. And hey, you can even share a funny or memorable story, like getting lost on a road trip or seeing something amazing from a plane window.
Oh, definitely. And don't be afraid to ask follow-up questions like, what's the most scenic train ride you've taken? Or, do you have a favorite road trip memory? It makes the conversation so much richer and more fun.
Absolutely, Emma. Travel is all about the journey, no matter how you get there. Whether it's by plane, train, or car, there's always something special to enjoy along the way. So, what's your favorite way to travel? Let us know. And now, let's move to our useful phrases on this topic.
Okay, sure. Here are 5 useful phrases for talking about traveling. 1. I've always wanted to visit. I've always wanted to visit. I've always wanted to visit. Use this phrase to express your travel dreams. For example, I've always wanted to visit Paris. The Eiffel Tower and French culture fascinate me. I've always wanted to visit Australia to see the Great Barrier Reef.
2. I had an amazing experience. I had an amazing experience. I had an amazing experience. Use this phrase to share highlights of a trip. For example, I had an amazing experience hiking in the Alps. The views were breathtaking. I had an amazing experience trying street food in Thailand. It was delicious.
3. One thing I loved about. One thing I loved about. One thing I loved about. Use this phrase to talk about specific parts of a trip. For example, one thing I loved about Tokyo was the mix of modern and traditional culture. One thing I loved about Italy was the food, especially the pasta and gelato.
4. I'd recommend. Use this phrase to give travel tips. For example, I'd recommend visiting the Grand Canyon. The views are unforgettable. I'd recommend trying a food tour if you go to Vietnam.
5. It's on my bucket list. It's on my bucket list. It's on my bucket list. Use this phrase to share travel goals. For example, it's on my bucket list to visit the pyramids in Egypt. It's on my bucket list to see the northern lights in Iceland.
Let's quickly review what we learned today about talking about traveling. We covered 5 key questions to help you share your travel experiences and connect with others.
1. Have you ever traveled to another country?
2. What's your favorite place you visited?
3. Where would you like to travel next?
4. Do you prefer traveling alone or with others?
5. What's your favorite way to travel by plane, train, or car?
We also shared tips on how to answer these questions with details and ask follow-up questions to keep the conversation going. Plus, we learned 5 useful phrases to talk about traveling naturally.
1. I've always wanted to visit. 2. I had an amazing experience. 4. I'd recommend. 5. It's on my bucket list.
Remember, talking about traveling is a great way to practice English and learn more about other cultures. So don't be shy, share your stories and dreams.
That's all for today's episode. Thank you for joining us.
Don't forget to subscribe to the Fluent English DCD podcast and share it with your friends.
See you next time. Bye, everyone.